So there is this hymn that I heard my mom sing sometimes, and it went like this: All to Jesus I surrender, all to Him I freely give. I will ever love and trust Him, in His presence daily live. I surrender all to Jesus, blessed Savior, I surrender all. And my mom passed away this year at the age of 69. And this song has been playing in my head for some time now. And also, there is this famous saying that has also been playing in my head for some time now. And it goes like, once you lose your grip in life, life flows effortlessly. It goes something like that. And if you clicked on this video out of just curiosity, that is completely fine. And I'm happy for you, because that means all is going perfectly well in your life. But if you clicked because you are going through some hardship in life and feel like you are all alone, then I'm here today to show you in this video that you have never been alone, because there is a greater power in this universe that controls all, and that is always working. But the problem is that we never fully, and I mean we really never fully allow him to completely take over. I have had a lot of thoughts in my head since this year began, thinking that, the more that you try to figure out this life and how it works, the more confusing it gets. Last year, my husband suffered a stroke in March after we had moved into this house. There's a video about this house that we manifested, and I will try and link it below. If you're interested, you can watch it and you understand more of what I'm talking about. But this year, when we moved here, the compound was very bumpy. I couldn't mow or anything. And there were a lot of trees on the compound. We cut almost all of them. But this apple tree, all the neighbors told me not to get rid of it because it produces the most delicious apples. So this year in spring, I found somebody to come and level it. And while he was doing the work, he accidentally hit the apple tree. And this is the apple tree. And when he hit, he didn't hit the whole tree, he hit a branch with the crane, I think they call it in English. And he hit a really big branch, but it didn't break off. It broke, and then it was hanging onto some of the skin. An apple tree has quite a thick skin, so it was hanging on a thick skin. And by then, that was in April, it was beginning to have, the tree was beginning to have all these blooms on them, very beautiful blooms. If you've seen an apple bloom before, you know that it's very pretty. So they were covered in the buds that were popping up, and so I didn't want to pull out this branch that was at the verge of falling. If I had tacked on it, it would have pulled. left it, I was thinking, I'll just wait till the blooms all fall off and then I will get rid of it. At the same time, my husband, that was perfectly fine and healthy, had had a stroke, still fighting to recover. I was in a car accident this year. I lost my mom this year. And I mean, I can fairly say that life was really whipping me. And I felt frustrated a lot of times. Last year, when my husband had a stroke, I decided to surrender myself to God. I'm using the word surrender because that is what I did. I watched a lot of, I didn't even know how to do it because, when you go through life and growing up, you never really faced any challenges. You've pretty much had an easy life, and then suddenly in your 40s, you have begun a family and something like this happened. No matter how tough you think you are, you begin to mellow, you begin to just give up. And when I got to that point, I started praying, and then I started watching a lot of YouTube videos on how to search for God and find this peace and all that. And I came across a lot of surrender videos, and I started practicing them. I started practicing meditation. I started spending a lot of time out in nature because I was doing my gardening, and when I was out doing all my planting and stuff, I was really in a different mental state. I wasn't thinking about what was going on. But then I will finish and I will go back into the house, or I will be at work, and reality will hit me again. So I started thinking, what are all these sayings that people, like some spiritual people, talk about on YouTube? Like these enlightened people say life is an illusion, and everything that you are thinking of is not real, it's just your mind playing a trick on you. Well, I wasn't experiencing that because when I came from work and I found out that my husband didn't do his therapy, when he decided to call his therapy place and told them he was sick and he couldn't come just because he wanted to get out of it, I was frustrated. Even though I said I had surrendered, I was frustrated. There were days I would lay on the floor and cry like a kid because I felt so helpless. Sorry. And I thought I had surrendered. But I wasn't completely. I was still trying to control the outcome, meaning my husband's recovery, based on the amount of work he put in, and not considering the fact that there is also a God that can make all things possible. So this went on for a while, and this year when I started the garden and the apple tree incident happened, even though I wanted to pull the branch so bad because I started seeding new grass seeds, and everything I did around the tree, I had to lift that branch up and like dunk underneath, like a bridge, go underneath it. But something in me was telling me not to pull this branch down. And soon enough, I started seeing miracles. And that is why I'm doing this video today, because sometimes all you need is for someone to share their experience with you, and it gives you that relief, it gives you that confidence that all shall be well, even if at the back of your mind you are thinking, but how is it even possible? And that is what I experience here in my garden with my father-in-law's apple tree. So this tree, when the flowers bloomed, finished blooming, and then fell off, one day I was going around the tree, I was doing something in the yard, and then I realized realized that there are little apple, apple buds, whatever you call them, but little apples that were growing on the whole tree, including the branch that is hanging. So I was very shocked. I called my neighbor, and this was in, summer, beginning of summer. I called my neighbor and I showed it to her, my neighbor Monica, and she was like, "Wow, that is so strange. I've never seen such a thing before." And I said, "I know, it's so mind blowing, and I'm curious to find out if these buds are going to, like, these tiny baby apples are going to get bigger and will even be able to ripe, because this branch barely has any nutrients coming through, because it's just hanging on that little piece of, I call it mainly skin, and yeah, maybe probably wood also." This was one part of it, what I'm showing here. But along the video, because now it is autumn and the tree has lost almost all of the leaves, so it is more vivid now, and I will show that main branch somewhere in this video. I'm not that good at editing, so I wasn't able to really pin it, but I tried my best. So you see here that little apple, that is one of the apples that I saw on the branch that was hanging. And so again, I wasn't able to pull on the branch. I left it, and as time went on, God being so good, it was like this tree was just trying to show me something. This is the branch that was hanging, and so I kept observing and observing it, and the apples became bigger. They started ripening. They were doing everything there on the branch, just as on the other parts of the tree as well. And I harvested enough. Even my neighbor Monica asked to come and take some. People that asked, they came and take. The birds have had their share of them as well. And so this apple tree taught me that even when you feel like you are barely holding on, there is something that is bigger and is controlling things daily. It's just that we don't see it because we don't completely allow it to work, or we are not patient enough and decide to just take things or take matters into our hands. But if you really let go completely, he comes in and he shows you what he can do. So you can see from here when the apples were still kind of green from where they riped, and this is the portion that I said I will show in the video, where you see the branch hanging onto just its skin. So I hope that this video helps you somehow, and that it eases your worries or your whatever you're going through. And I hope to see you in my next one. Bye.